Hi, my name's Jason Jadon. I'm a supporter of Fulham Football Club. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, but my second home is the Cottage, and you're listening to DU Football Show.
He's going to cut a new one. He's just, come on, they're back. We gave them back-to-back weeks. They were feeling really good about themselves.
Well, it's too bad they're not going to be here back-to-back seasons.
No, they gave us meat and cheese board. That's always a good thing.
That's true. Charcuterie is never a bad thing.
I will never say no to charcuterie. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of my lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a totally biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston. See, I can actually get it out correctly.
You did it. Oh,
it just
you did
took
write
a
it
week.
out this time.
And across the way from me, give me some serious Andres Gomez vibes. My co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. How you doing, Sammy?
Not too bad, thank you. And it is starting to get Andres Gomes-esque.
Yeah, that or maybe it's more a mop. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, it got a little dry.
Like
it
a
was
really-
slick back when we had tried to start 45 minutes ago, but
Like a really kind of dirty mop, like the one that they use in a high school gymnasium
Okay.
that they never really.
they don't
replace
use
or
mops in high school
change or
gymnasiums.
do
They're
anything.
just shit.
Yeah, the little dust things. Those.
Yeah, thanks.
That's
All
what
right,
your hair
not
kind
even
of
a
looks like
mop
right
then.
there. Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
a broom, isn't it?
Well, with little nubs on them,
At least I have. You know what? At least I have hair. Oh fuck!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm joined by two eggs today.
Excellent. All right.
Goodness.
We're recording at DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and share with a footballing friend. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Of course, it is at DU Football Show on all the social medias and DUFootball at gmail.com. DUFootballShow at gmail.com. Sorry, to get in touch via email.
Excellent. Very good. Or you could just zoom your happy ass on in here,
Yes,
as
you
the
can.
case is tonight, as our good boy Zack is joining us. Zack, how you doing, man?
I am fantastic. How are you guys doing today?
Doing lovely. Why don't you tell us who you support real quick?
So I support the smallest club ever by stadium size in the English Premier League of AFC Bournemouth.
Very good. You know what? Hey, every year they're in the Premier League, they start the year at the top of the table. Just like every year they're in the
Exactly.
championship, like next year, they'll start the year at the top of the table. Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham, Gin Binge continues. What are we drinking?
It does. So we are back to the Plymouth Gin, one that we've had before. We're revisiting today, but we're doing it in a little bit of a different fashion. A made-from-scratch G&T that you made with Jack Rudy Cocktail Company's classic tonic syrup. So you actually had to cut it with club soda yourself.
Yep, exactly.
So we'll see how your measurements worked out there. But in terms of the gin, you are looking at a 41.2 alcohol by volume on this one. It is a classic Plymouth gin. It is absolutely delightful, pretty juniper heavy, really.
Yep, exactly. The
it is-
Friars of Plymouth are who make it.
Yes, very, very
Black
good.
Friars, in fact.
$23.99 to $28.99 on the shelf, of course. And the tonic syrup is a craft tonic syrup made, all it says is handcrafted in the South. So maybe the fits had something to do with it. Who knows?
Yeah.
$12.99 to $15.99 on the shelf for a bottle of that.
I love it. Well, let me know what you think, but it was real simple. It's, a normal long side of one jigger, which is about 2 ounces of gin. Then the other side, which is a 3/4 ounce pour. Go ahead and do that. Boom. Voila. Top with soda water. Give a little bar spoon stir and a little fresh lime.
Pretty nailed on, I must say.
Yeah,
It's not bad. Wouldn't mind a little bit more tonic, to be honest.
I
But
was
it's
going
not-
to say
not
it's
bad.
not as quinine-y
As
as
it-
most tonics
yeah.
are. It's a little softer, but I actually kind of like that about it. It
Yeah.
lets the juniper and the gin sing. So.
Absolutely.
This is dangerous. This is going down really fast.
So for those of you not listening to us and not watch us on the video,
But we want to make sure that everyone drinks responsibly.
very good. They
Thank
do.
you very much.
Now, producer Mel has a big goblet. Now, that's the Whitley Neal goblet, Sam.
Yes.
So remember, we drank a bunch of Whitley Neal in London
yeah.
out of that goblet specifically. So I had one of them, and one night I brought her in a gin and tonic with that. And besides yelling profanities at me and throwing things at me, she had told me from this day forth I was not allowed to bring her a gin and tonic unless it was in
a goblet.
That fucking glass was exactly what she said.
Very upset that we're this far into our relationship, and I'm only now finding out there's a goblet for gin and tonic.
That's how gin and tonics are supposed to be served.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the last week, you've gotten 3 gin and tonics, and what have all three been in?
In a goblet.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to tell you to hit the mute button anymore, but this is where I would be doing that.
Hypothetically, if I could say something, this would be the time I'd be saying it. So I'm not saying you're a cunt. However, if I was allowed to say you were a cunt, this would be the moment I'd be saying it. That's ridiculous.
Bloody fucking brilliant.
That's like starting off a sentence with, hey, no offense. You know something offensive is coming immediately after.
That's precisely why I did it. You think that was accidental? All right, well, let's get into it, kids. Let's have a good show. Cheers.
Cheers. Don't want to break the goblet, Mel. Careful.
Cheers.
Listen how this sings.
I like that. It was kind of dulled by the thickness of our glasses, I
Yeah,
think.
well, a lot of things are dulled by the thickness of, but never mind.
All right, so it is our getting to know you continued series, and
Yes.
as always, we started off last week. We started with Fulham, and today we welcome in AFC Bournemouth, the Cherries, and we welcome Zack to talk with us about it. First and foremost, Zack, what got you into Bournemouth? Why are you a Bournemouth supporter?
So, first, thanks for having me, guys. So growing up and everything, I was never a footy fan or anything like that. Just kind of got into FIFA, loved it. And honestly, like, I'm not a Big Six kind of guy. I'm from Cleveland area, so we like the shitty teams over in this area.
Hold on, from Cleveland.
We don't like championships. We don't like winning shit. So.
Say, well, on to question 2 then.
Wake up! You wake up every morning and you go, "Fuck me! I live in Cleveland." And that's how you start every day.
Exactly. But we're happy
continue.
that our river's not on fire.
Yes.
But besides that, I started career mode. I think it was FIFA 16, so it was the first year actually that Bournemouth was in the Premier League, and I decided to be them. And I'm like, I want to build them up and everything. Kind of got that. Then I saw a video. I think it was against West Brom when Callum Wilson did a nice back heel goal, and I was just like, this is the moment. So it was the 16-17 year that is, and then they finished 9th that year, and I was like, I'm all in. This shit's awesome. I love it.
It is the best sport in the world.
It really is.
That's
really
absolutely
is.
true.
I'm very mad at myself for being late to the game of like falling in love with the sport. So
Yeah. So what about a little bit of a brief history about the club from a fairly new supporter's perspective? I mean, that's coming in and seeing how old the club is and everything else. What about their history and what, kind of things drew you to them in that respect once you started reading up on them and finding out about them?
yeah, so there's like a good 45, I would say, minute documentary and stuff kind of on YouTube about the team, and kind of went with, which is a segue into the next probably question about their struggles in 08 and 09. But I mean, they've been mostly throughout their history a League One, League Two team. I think they were in the brief championship under Harry Redknapp when he managed the team, but it's just kind of that. It's just what really drew me is after when the financial collapse in the 09 season, and then just how hard they had to work, just especially Eddie Howe and like guiding the team up. And it's just kind of, like I said, I root for shit teams. So it's just like, hey, we're always the scrappy underdog. And that's kind of the teams I'm drawn to. And it's just so, and I'm not going to shy away that we're definitely punching way above our weight right now in the Premier League. So.
Well, and it's funny you think about that. We talk about the 08, 09, collapse, and we'll kind of get into that now. Yeah. The history on that is they fell out of the championship and they had gone into financial ruin, fell out of League One all the way down to League Two, to the point where they were just barely survived
Yes.
getting knocked out of professional football.
Out of league football, yeah.
And then with Eddie Howe proceeded to win League Two, League win one, League win the championship, and get up to the Premier League. Like 3 years in a row, just win. And then in their first year, 9th place. Like just charged up the table.
Yeah.
And
So I mean, it's kind of like their history. It didn't just, I mean, with any team, it didn't just happen in that 08, 09. It happened like years before where they were doing like the bucket, raising money and everything. So part of the reason why our stadium is so small is because we don't own the rights. We don't own the stadium ourselves. Is in, I think, 05 or something, like 04 or 05. We sold the stadium to like help us get the money and everything and stay afloat. And then that beginning of that 08, 09 season, we started negative 17 points. And I think what helped us was Luton. Yeah,
Darby was minus
Luton
21
got
points this season.
Yeah, Luton got like a negative 20 something up there, and they end up going.
Yeah,
down
you're
that same
drinking light
season,
beer.
so.
They're over there with a 10% IPA. Come on.
So yeah, I mean, they were in that. So the 08, 09, they had a transfer embargo. They couldn't do anything. I think it led into the next season too, which they stayed afloat. The 08, 09 won the League Two championship. The very next year was in League One. Howe went off to Burnley. Then he came back next year, won at League One, was in the championship for 2 years. Then by 15, 16, they were in the Premier League. So it was a very rapid rise.
Absolutely.
So with that collapse, and that's something you always have to be mindful of. And you tell us what you know. You don't have to speculate. Do you feel like the club has done what they need to do to kind of just remain financially stable? If we go up to the Prem, great, we'll take the money. If we're down, we know how to survive in the championship. It's not all going to go to shit again.
Yeah. So kind of the infrastructure is going to be getting there probably this time around, being in the Premier League, because they just started construction on improving like the training ground. So that's probably one of those assets that's going to be there. But when they went up in 15, 16, Eddie Howe and the management team kind of had the mindset of liquid assets. So they were spending a bunch of money on transfers, but they took we need to buy low. And then when we did get relegated from the championship, we made over 100 million in sales off all these players. So that was one of the reasons why he wanted to buy like young players and everything, because we knew we didn't have the infrastructure behind, so we could stay afloat and we wouldn't get ourselves up Schitt's Creek in financial reasons. So
yeah, people overlook like Nathan Aki was like a $45 million sale.
And Ryan Fraser still brought in 12 or 15 million or whateter it was. I mean, that's
Ryan
not,
Fraser left on a free, so he's
it was Wilson. But didn't Tyrone Mings was sold to Villa?
26.
Yeah, so I mean those. Like these are all players we know as regular names in the Premier League. So they were clearly good assets. So that also then says to clubs that want to buy from Burnley, oh, if you're selling, he's probably pretty freaking decent, because we're looking at their track record of sales, and those players tend to stick it out well in the Premier League as well too. Yeah, beyond their time with the club.
Yeah, and of course, Arsenal's great goalkeeper came from Bournemouth, so before he went to Sheffield United. So I love Ramsdale, so I'm rooting for the best for him.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He's been such high energy, and honestly, he was hands down Sheffield United's best player the season they went down. 8-9 saves a game.
The year we went down, him and Ake were our best players.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Ake scored more goals than Callum Wilson did that season, I think.
Yeah, he did.
I know he got an assist, so.
Yeah. So, all right. So, who are your major rivals in the Premier League? I know that might not be your biggest rival overall, and if you would also explain who that is, just in case people don't know.
So, I mean, we're kind of in a weird spot where we don't have a main rival.
I was just about to say you're the other South Coast club.
Right.
Yeah,
well, those two South Coast clubs don't consider each other rivals.
With Southampton, but like it's kind of mixed feeling. We both know we've always been viewed kind of as a little brother to them, because a lot of our academy players that would be rejects from the Southampton academy would come down to us and everything like that. We try and get in some banter and everything, but Twitter banner, like rivals on that one is they're not in the Prem this year, but Watford. But we had a lot of banter with Forest.
Okay.
this past year in the championship. So
Very good.
That's going to continue into this year. So
I've got two things here.
Yeah, please.
If all the successful people from Southampton's academy go to Liverpool, the rejects we just found out went to AFC Bournemouth. Got it. Got it. So that's one
yeah.
thing.
So I mean, unlike Danny Ings, he's one of those. He came through the Bournemouth. He ended up going up
Gotcha.
there. So
and then,
what's funny is Adam Lallana was a Bournemouth reject, and he went to Southampton, and then he went
and
up
then
to
made it.
Liverpool.
That's interesting.
That's too funny.
And then the other piece, speaking of Southampton real quick, I got a message today from Kenny.
Oh, yeah? What was that about?
How fire Arsenal's third kits are.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
I saw that today. The
And
all black
I
with
love
the
them.
gold.
They're fantastic.
They're gorgeous, aren't
Gorgeous,
they?
yeah.
And just so everyone who's keeping track at home, that's a ninth time in a row that Arsenal has a better away kit than Southampton. Kind of like they lost 9-0 twice in a calendar year.
Yes, Zack, one of our good friends and listeners, Kenny, is a Southampton fan, and whenever there is an opportunity for Mr. Graham to mention the fact that Southampton lost twice 9-0, he likes to bring it up,
shoehorn it in any way possible.
Any way he can reference the number 9 and 0, he likes to reference it. We do the same thing with our boy Smokey, who's a West Ham supporter. We always like to
Heckle him
about
losing 5-0 to City at the opening day of the season.
Go back to the opening 5-0 loss, which was 3 seasons ago.
3 seasons ago now, yeah.
We always like to go back and reference that, and they open with them this year, so hopefully it'll be another 5-0 defeat, and we can then go ahead.
That'd be nice. I also have one more artificial rivalry to bring up.
Okay.
For Bournemouth, and it's going to be Arsenal. Okay, and the reason I say that is because with Scotty Parker at the helm, Mikel Arteta now is a challenger for sexiest manager in the Premier League.
Oh, that's true.
So
Scotty Parker is
we were
a quite
in the
attractive
Prem,
man.
Yeah.
Last time we were in the Prem, I swear Bournemouth had like the greatest looking team ever. Like you look at Simon Francis, good looking guy. Like even Nathan Ake is a good looking guy. Who am I trying to think of? Andrew Sermon, great looking guy. Like Callum Wilson, great looking guy. Like just great looking guys and everything. And like we for sure had the best looking team there. But
played like shit, but they look good.
They look good doing it. Yeah.
we were injured.
Well, you know
so many
what?
people were injured.
You know what's weird about that? And there's always one.
Yeah.
It was all those guys that he mentioned. You know, he didn't bring up Ryan Fraser because he looks like a beardless troll from the Lord of the Rings.
Fraser
He's 5'2", stocky as shit.
Hated within the fan base.
Now, like it's looking at that South because it's kind of funny the way it all lines up because Southampton's rival isn't Brighton or Brent or Bournemouth. It's
Portsmouth.
It's Portsmouth.
They're right across the harbor from each other.
And Portsmouth's all the way down in League One currently right now. And then Brighton, there it is right there. They could just go ahead and be rivals with Bournemouth at both South Coast. That works out pretty well, right? Nope. They decide they want to make up a rivalry with Crystal Palace
because
all
of
the
a
way
highway.
up in London because of a highway.
That's my favorite rivalry. It makes 0 sense, but I love it.
Oh, we pub the shit out of the El Gatwico now, man. We love it. And what I'm just trying to think, and if either one of you know, and forgive me for not knowing, beyond Pompey, what other lower league South Coast teams do we have down there? Because most of those areas, it's one club towns for the most part.
Yeah. So
I mean, the
until
other side is
recently, there
Plymouth.
was Yeovil.
Okay.
Yeovil Town, yeah. Plymouth is down that way. Might be the other side,
Plymouth,
actually.
Yeah, Plymouth is way out there.
They're closer to Wales, though, right?
They're closer to France.
They're in the like that extreme western part. I'm trying to. I mean, Bristol's north of us, but
We were talking about teams on the water with the potential of going down, being in the lower leagues and not the Premier League. Everton's got to rank up there somewhere.
Yeah, I heard. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, speaking of financial problems.
Yeah. Hey, we sold Richie. Nothing to see here, you looky-loos. Everything's fixed. It's all fine now.
I'm sure.
We're going to be okay. 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 It's all going to be all right. It's going to be a good, wonderful place. All right. Yep. That weekend's match that we just had didn't foreshadow anything that our defense wasn't complete.
No, not at all.
It's, you know what, Sam? And then we'll get right back to it. I'm going to pull a you and make it all about me for a second.
Okay.
It's amazing. Really nothing to talk about in the entire game. What do all the Evertonians do? We play like shit for 90 minutes. Tchaikovsky decides to have a piss in front of all of the Charm City Gooners and get a yellow card right at the end when it didn't matter and the game got blown. All we're talking about, like, look at the balls on Tchaikovsky. He's gonna be all right. He's one of us. Look at him having a
Paper
go.
right over the fucking cracks of everything that you have going on.
The fact that we left two
Makes
guys
total
wide
sense.
open for the easiest goals ever, we're like, but Tchaikovsky.
Makes total sense. The
Problem fixed.
Jesus took 4 touches in the box before anybody even confronted him. It's ridiculous.
But
Ridiculous defending.
But Turkey's got it all done for us. All right. The next question's mine.
It's
How about
yours.
that?
Yeah.
All right.
Professional.
All right. So real quick, why don't you go ahead and give us what moves you have made as a club so far and what pieces you think you still need to improve upon on here in the transfer window?
So we actually have not. We've only made 2 signings so far in Fredrickson from West Ham and why can't I think of his name, from Blackburn, the midfielder.
Yeah, midfielder from Blackburn.
Rothwell.
Yeah.
Rothwell. So I mean,
They have UFOs there, don't they?
what's that?
Said they have UFOs there, don't they?
Rothwell.
Yeah.
Never. Sorry, it was a stretch. It was a stretch. I knew it when I said it.
What's going on?
Keep going. We're good.
So we're in need of center backs because we only have, I think, 3 on the roster right now, and because we just sold one of our youth products to Cambridge today or yesterday. So that's where our main where we're looking at is, but I mean, all the other positions kind of have premier experience or their talent. So like on the left wing, we have Jaden Anthony. So he deserves his shot because he had a great championship season last year, and same with Zamora at left back. So it's just kind of, we need reinforcements in defense, but kind of everyone else we don't have a lot of needs out there. I know the quality might be the issue and everything like that, but it's a lot of like Ryan Christie, like he performed well at Celtic and then performed well with us last year, so he deserves his shot in the Premier League. So, and our midfielder has plenty of Premier League experience and everything. So it's just it's a weird transition. So we're not in all the other, like when Fulham went up a couple of years buying a ton of players, or even Forest right now where they had to replace like nearly their entire squad. So
yeah, so the bookies don't necessarily agree with you based on that, but we'll talk about that here in a minute.
No, I get it. It's a mixed bag. You can either go well or it can go
to shit really quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the big question, obviously, the only question that really matters is do you think that you have the ability to stay up this season? What are your actual realistic expectations? And then are you going to win the Premier League? As a follow-up question to that.
I think I'm going to go out on a limb here. It may be controversial, but I don't think we're going to win the Premier League.
No.
I know. Bournemouth fans are going to be like, what the fuck is he talking about? But I mean, the goal for this year, staying up would be fantastic. But realistically, like a 17th, 16th, even 18th in that region is where I predict us, like maybe barely surviving. But the main goal behind mine is getting that training complex built and ready to go, because so we can move our academy category from 3 to 2 and just trying to promote that and everything, because our infrastructure, since we went up so fast, we had to keep buying players and not really put money into our infrastructure. But
and ultimately,
I
at
would
the end of
be
the day, that is what's going to
delighted
sustain
if
a
we
club.
stayed up.
Yeah. It's key.
You have to
the
get
club
that
alive.
infrastructure nowadays, because nobody can unless you're consistently in the Premier League, you can't buy 2, 3, 4 40 million pound players every year.
No,
You know, so you have to produce some talent to sell on to then reinvest in the squad again.
And it seems that's also become the price tag too, pretty much across
absolutely.
the board.
For a half decent football you're playing for, I'd go for 25 million right now in my current condition.
Yeah,
I'd go for
exactly.
25 million.
Yeah,
based on
that's
this
the current
market.
thing. Like with Bournemouth, we all have that 08-09 season like in the back of our minds. So like we get that training and like we get that academy up a little bit to the category 2. Like we should never go below League 1 again. And that's like the ultimate fear. Like it's just where we are as a club. Like we know we're punching above the weight, and it's just about getting that infrastructure in place now while we have the money.
Sure money.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Shore Money. This is where I give you the odds, and we make bets to better inform you to make your bets. If you can't sense the sarcasm there, you are brain dead.
We have a chicken do bets, and the chicken does better than we do.
So if you can't understand the irony behind the name, that is your problem and your problem alone. We are not liable for you making poor betting choices. That being said, there's no games going on, but I do want to go through, so we're not making bets personally, but I do want to go through a couple of the odds, and just for some context, go through some comparisons here with some of the other clubs.
Right.
So Bournemouth to win the league, Mr. Zach. 2,000-1, the worst in the Premier League. Are you taking that bet? You gonna pull?
I'm not. No.
For comparison's sake, Nottingham Forest is 1,000-1. Everton is 500-1. Arsenal are 66-1, and City are 4-7.
Yeah.
The only actual bet that you could probably make proper money on would be Liverpool at 2-1 at this stage.
Very good.
That's the only chance you're really going to have. For top scorer, Dominic Solanke, I just picked the first person with the best odds they had from your club, was 80-1. You having that? No?
Top scorer for the club, yes. The league, probably not.
Comparison-wise, Gabriel Jesus is 20-1. Holland, brand new signing, unproven in the Premier League, still fairly young. Had some muscular issues from time to time. 3-1.
Wow.
Better than Salah, better than Harry Kane.
Really?
He is the favorite.
That's interesting.
He is the favorite on
surprise to me.
Bet365 to win the Golden Boot.
That's a big surprise to
3-1.
me because Kane and Salah every single year, they just prove it. They're 20 goals every year. You know, like the number to beat is a minimum 20.
Yep.
Because they are going to score 20.
At least. Yeah, absolutely.
They've each done that, 3 years, 4 years in a row now, both of them, respectively?
For sure.
Yeah,
And
it's
disrespectful to your Dominic Calvert-Lewin, sir. You and Mitro are tied 40-1.
Oh, that's nice. Well, we know Mitro's going to give us a solid 6 goals and a whole lot of time on the bench from that 43 from last
And
year.
a lot of yellows, which
yes.
I love.
Yes.
Now, the one that pains me to say for you personally, now being friends, favorites to get relegated are Bournemouth at 1-2.
Ooh, not good.
That's not great.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, everyone just looks at the stadium size and everything like that and be like, they're getting relegated. And
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
of
we
course.
defy the odds for
what, 5 years, 4 years,
seasons the
yeah,
last
something
time.
like that.
Yeah.
Forest, for context, are even money, 1-1.
Okay.
Not much better. Fulham 5-4, Everton 7-2, not terribly far away.
No, not so good.
Which is quite funny.
But we got
Arsenal,
Tarkovsky.
he gets yellows.
It's
Yes.
going to be okay.
In meaningless friendlies.
Yes.
Arsenal are 500-1, and City and Liverpool are joint least likely to go down at 4,500-1. The bookies really learning their lesson from Leicester City and will refuse to fucking offer you $5,000 to 1.
Yep. They're not going to offer
not
it.
doing
Never again.
Now this might be something decent here. If you start to get on a bit of a run, I don't think they'll slash the odds that much. Okay, to finish in the top 6, Bournemouth are 14-1. I'd put a couple quid on
I'll
that.
take it.
Hey,
That's
I'll
not
take
that's
it,
not
yeah.
too shabby, right?
yeah, go hit the bookie with that one.
That's not too bad. For context, Fulham are 6-1. Leeds are 9-2. Arsenal are 1-10. United are 1-12, which I think is disrespectful to us. That's United. Fuck United. And then Everton are 5-2.
There we go.
Yeah, not too shabby there.
Not too
That's
shabby
all right.
at all.
So that'll wrap up Shore Money for this week.
Wonderful. All right. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Mr. Graham, do you got any parting words for us?
Want to thank everybody associated with the Charm City Gooners, the Baltimore and DC Toffees, everybody that did everything to make this past weekend so bloody special. It was awesome. We had a great time with all the events surrounding our clubs playing in our city. And it was just a blast to be with everybody. There's going to be audio, a recap, videos put on the social medias at DU Football Show on all of those, kind of recapping and vlogging, if you will, a lot of our interaction surrounding this weekend that made it so special for us. So look out for that. But generally, everybody behaved themselves. There was nothing really crazy going on, so I don't have a D-back this week.
And no
I
big
just
fights,
have
don't look
a
crazy.
thank you and appreciate all of the love and support that everybody showed to us, everybody that came up and talked to us during a live podcast out in the parking lot after the game. Ton of fun, and hopefully we get to do more of that kind of stuff, even if it's not going to be against each other.
Yeah, it was really great. Big shout out to Everton Football Club directly, too. Mo, who is the head of communications there, and Christine with fan engagement, of course, Darren, the voice of the Toffees, all of them just making time for little old me. And big shout out to producer Mel, who somehow, now why she no longer has a mute button, boys and girls.
Well, no, I have a mute button by choice.
Right, not a mute button when I just tell you to hit it. Because
it is under appeal to the Supreme Court, though.
Mel got
in Maryland. I still get a mute button.
Mel was able to set us up with the opportunity to be part of the press for the week as well. So we got an opportunity to do a little tour of the press area, do some recording from there as well, and just take part with the match with our colleagues, Sam. Our colleagues,
yeah, and we could have stayed the entire match
and snacks.
Yeah, we did have snacks. I did take I had a hot dog, and I had it on purpose because it brought two worlds together.
Yep.
Brought the July 3rd party, which those of you longtime listeners will know about that, and being a part of the press in all in one moment.
Yeah, I did such a good job. I had a cookie while I was up there.
Aw, good for you.
Nice.
A self-congratulatory cookie.
Good thing one of those drug sniffing dogs didn't catch on the way in.
Yeah.
No, that was a gummy. That was a gummy
right.
earlier.
But so basically, we had a great time. It was so much fun. We could have stayed to watch the game there, but you know what? Being the podcast of the people, we did bring a bunch of listeners / our wives to the game, so we did have to go back over to the seats.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Brody would have cried if I hadn't brought you guys back. He had wanted you guys back 10 minutes sooner than I brought you back to the seats.
We had just got in the elevator, and you got a text from him going, "Where are you guys at?"
Where you guys at? Where you guys at?
Yeah, we're coming. We're coming for crying out loud.
Where you guys at? How long are you going to be there?
Calm
What are you doing? What are you doing? I miss you.
Zach, thank you so very, very much for joining us. And I just want you to take a moment to promote the club where like-minded individuals can find you. Anything Bournemouth related for the United States, watch parties, the whole nine. The room is yours. Plug away.
Yeah, so I appreciate you guys having me on here. So unfortunately, our fan base here in the USA is not that big, but for me, you can find me on Twitter at _USA Cherries, and I will just always put this plug out here for the AFC Bournemouth fan base all around the world is the AFC Bournemouth fan channel, Back of the Net. Go ahead and check that out. They have a ton of great videos out there. So if you're a Bournemouth fan and you don't know about it, which I don't see how you would know about it, go and check that out. Great videos there. And again, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Of course, man. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you again for joining us, boys and girls. Next up is Injury Time, and it is the famous 3rd of July recap. Mr. Graham, should someone want to find Injury Time, how do they go about doing that?
Much like that other picture it took while we were there at the weekend, it's time to be a whore.
Heard. Whore away.
It is patreon.com/DU Football Show. You sign up to that $5 tier. You get both Sound Check and Injury Time, our 2 extra shows for the week, as well as some extra content during the summer sometimes. Big Sam, you want to plug away your show on that Patreon in case anybody wants to check it out?
Sure. Over the summer, I decided to take time and the very daunting task of listing out my 100 favorite songs. And at the same time, I also wanted to learn how to work the board and post things and not constantly go to my wife, Mel, fucking record this for me.
Yeah.
So I tried to change it up a little bit. So I did it all myself, and that's Big Sam's 100.
And it's great. And next time, maybe go work the board well.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
After all this practice. So anyway, so Sam muddied up our Patreon feed with that crap.
Been very complimentary of you, woman. You are just she. You know what it is? Just go. Please take away the mute button. Take that away from me. I want you to. I dare you.
Yeah. So check that out. When you do sign up, remember it is a recurring charge. So there you go.
Excellent. And
dare you remind them of that?
That's the only thing that Adam gets. Good luck.
Be sure to check out our link tree as well. That is pinned to all of our social media accounts at DU Football Show. It gives you links to everything you need. Our Drip Shack, our YouTube, our Twitch, the whole nine, everything that we do. So please be sure to check that out as well. And until next week, everybody.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Smells of a lord. Looks great in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
the fucking mute button.